You know that feeling when you're on a long road trip and there's a kid in the backseat just relentlessly asking, "Are we there yet? How about now? Are we there yet?" It's exhausting, right? Well, believe it or not, that repetitive questioning is exactly how early software systems used to communicate. But modern apps, we're talking your payment providers, HR systems, AI tools, the whole shebang, they're deeply interconnected and they demand a much smarter way to talk. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the architecture behind webhooks. We're going to see how ditching that "are we there yet" model for a reactive, event-driven dialogue is absolutely crucial for building reliable, enterprise-grade integrations. Take a look at this. It really perfectly captures the frustrating delay of polling compared to the elegant, instant notification system of webhooks. Over on the left, polling is literally that kid in the back seat. An app is just repeatedly hammering a server asking, "Hey, has the payment succeeded? Is the file ready?" It's super inefficient, it eats up server resources, and it introduces lag. But on the right? That's the magic of webhooks. Instead of constantly pestering, the event source just taps your app on the shoulder and says, "Hey, this thing just happened." It's reactive, it's immediate, and honestly, it's the bedrock of automation in modern SaaS platforms. So here's our blueprint for building a bulletproof, event-driven architecture in this explainer. We're going to hit the end of polling, the anatomy of a webhook, securing your events, surviving network failures, and finally, the processing pipeline. All right, section 1, the end of polling. Let's dive right into how this isn't just about receiving data, but establishing a mature, two-way flow of critical business events. This breaks down the totally different, yet equally heavy, responsibilities of receiving events versus sending them out to partners. A mature platform usually has to juggle both. So if you're taking in incoming webhooks, say from a payment gateway, your job is to verify they're authentic, filter out the duplicates, and process them safely. Pretty straightforward, right? But if you're the one sending outgoing webhooks, like pinging a corporate client's HR system when a user finishes a training module, your responsibilities completely flip. Now you've got to securely manage subscriber endpoints, sign the payloads you send, and build a rock-solid delivery system that actually retries when your partner system inevitably goes offline. Moving on to section 2, anatomy of a webhook. Let's look at how this philosophy translates into the actual structure of the event payload itself. What exactly is traveling across the network when a webhook fires? A well-designed webhook is super predictable, and it tells a really clear story. Check out the event type here. Good event names always use past tense verbs, like payment.succeeded or course.completed. They're describing something that has already definitively happened. You also absolutely need a unique event ID, a timestamp, some metadata for context, and the core data. But here's the big takeaway for you. You have to balance providing useful context with protecting sensitive data. So a payment webhook needs to give you enough info to actually fulfill the order, for sure, but it should literally never include full credit card details. Keep it lean, clear, and most importantly, secure. All right, section 3, securing your events. Because these payloads trigger critical business actions, like shipping out products or granting system access, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. A naive receive and process script is a massive security risk. Think about it. If you've got a public endpoint listening for events, what's stopping a bad actor from just blasting a fake payment.succeeded webhook to get free access to your software? To stop spoofing dead in its tracks, we have to rigorously verify authenticity. Here's how it works. The sender uses a shared secret to compute a mathematical signature, usually an HMAC, and slaps it right in the request header. When your server gets that webhook, it takes the payload, grabs that same shared secret, and does the math to recompute the signature itself. If your math matches their math, boom, the event is authentic. And if it doesn't, you drop it. Instantly. No questions asked. Never, ever trust an unauthenticated webhook. Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial architectural concept. Idempotency. I know it's a big, fancy word, but it basically just means making sure that if a network hiccup causes a duplicate delivery, we don't accidentally trigger duplicate actions. And because of how webhooks operate under the hood, duplicate deliveries aren't just possible, they're completely normal. If your handler isn't idempotent, a single retried course-completed event might make your system spit out 2 identical certificates. Or far worse, a payment-succeeded retry might charge your customer twice. Ouch. By tracking those unique event IDs, your system can just look at an incoming request and say, okay, I've already seen event 123, I'm just going to safely ignore this duplicate. Section 4, surviving network failures. Let's pivot from the perfect happy path, where everything works flawlessly, to the harsh reality path, where networks drop, databases lock up, and servers inevitably crash.
So what actually happens when the network fails? When a receiving server goes down or times out, how does a robust system make sure that critical data doesn't just vanish into the void? I mean, if a partner's HR system goes offline for routine maintenance, we obviously can't just toss out all the user.enrolled events that happened during that downtime window.
The silver bullet here is exponential backoff. Take a look at this controlled schedule of retries. If a delivery fails, the system doesn't just furiously try to hammer the server and resend it every single second. That's called a retry storm, and it will absolutely crush a server that's already gasping for air. Instead, we play it smart. We wait 1 minute. Fails again, we wait 5 minutes, then 30, then hours. This strategy gives the receiver the breathing room it desperately needs to recover, guaranteeing the event is eventually delivered without totally nuking the infrastructure.
And that brings us to Section 5, the processing pipeline. Now we're going to take everything we've learned about signing, idempotency, and network failures and build a processing pipeline that actually survives the messy reality of the internet.
This sequence you're looking at is known as the fast acknowledgement pattern, and it is an absolute game changer. The massive mistake a lot of developers make is trying to do all their heavy business logic, say generating a complex PDF certificate, right there during the webhook request itself. The problem, if that PDF generation takes too long, the sender's connection times out, they assume the delivery failed, and bam, they send it again. Fast acknowledgement elegantly separates the delivery from the processing. You verify the signature, you store the raw events safely in your database, you immediately fire back a 200 OK success message to the sender, and then, and only then, do you actually process the event asynchronously in the background.
Now, by durably storing those events before you process them, you unlock an actual superpower, event replay. Let's say, hypothetically, someone deploys a bug into production that botches the processing of 500 payment events. If you didn't save those raw webhooks, well, that data's completely gone. Panic time. But because you safely stored them at step 2 of the fast acknowledgement pattern, you just fix the bug and then effortlessly replay those saved events back through your internal system. What could have been a totally catastrophic data loss magically transforms into a standard, easily recoverable operational blip.
Dodging these common pitfalls is exactly what transforms webhooks from fragile, taped-together scripts into truly enterprise-ready integrations. For instance, if you just assume events are always going to arrive in perfect chronological order, you are going to end up with mangled data. Because of network routing, a subscription.updated event might actually hit your server before the subscription.created event. It happens. And if you aren't keeping delivery logs, your poor support team is going to be flying completely blind the second a partner complains about missing data.
As we start to wrap things up, I really want to leave you with this thought from our source material. Webhooks look deceptively simple because, hey, on the surface, they're really just HTTP requests, right? But the reality is that a robust webhook pipeline is a first-class product feature. It is not just simple back-end plumbing. Doing it right demands durable storage, asynchronous processing, and really careful observability. So I'll leave you with this. Are your webhooks truly resilient? Or are you just a single network failure away from an operational disaster? I highly encourage you to take a hard look at your systems after this explainer. Are you using fast acknowledgement? Are your endpoints actually idempotent? Build true reliability into your pipelines, and I promise you, your integrations will never let you down. Thanks for exploring this with us, and keep building great things.